What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back with another one. People, in today's video, we want to discuss the issue or the role that correctional services facilities are supposed to play, or the role that they do play in societies, and whether correctional facilities are actually facilities of correction or just facilities of warehousing people. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we're family, right? Hate speech, always welcome. Hello. People, every time we open the news, right? Or watch the news, or we open newspapers and open social medias and go onto social media and stuff, there's always something about prisons and the bad things that happen in prisons, right? And I've always wondered to myself why prisons are the way they are, the state that they're in. And I don't know if there's any well kept, well run, well oiled machinery that is associated with any correctional facilities anywhere in the world, least of all South Africa. I mean, let's start with the name, right? The Department of Correctional Facilities. Okay, what is the role of the correctional facilities, right? First thing first, it is to rehabilitate criminals, right? So that they don't re-offend. Okay? That's the primary role of correctional facilities. Prisons are not there to house people. That's not what prisons are there for. Prisons are there for corrective measures. By the very nature of the term correctional services or correctional facilities, those places are not for people to live there forever or to live there for months and years on end. It's not really meant for that, you know. If you kill someone, for example, and the country, like most countries, don't have death penalties anymore, right? And you're sentenced to life because you took a life, right? In that case, they have to house you, right? But in the case where you stole an apple, where you, I don't know, you stole a roller, you stole cash, you robbed someone's bag, a cell phone, you know, something minor, and those places, prison is not for that. I mean, how how does it even work that you steal an apple and you languishing for 2 years still waiting a trial date? I mean, dude, you stole an apple and you are in what they call remand. Remand. 2 years still waiting a trial date to be set, still waiting to be seen. If we cannot fix our prison system, how can we then fix the country? If we cannot even just do the basics of what correction facilities mean, then why on God's green earth do we have them in the first place? See, the honest truth is this: I feel like prisons are meant for rapists, murderers, right? Like your serious, vicious, psychotic crimes. Everything else is not meant to be there. But for some reason, we now treat prisons like warehouses for people to rot in. And that's not what correctional facilities are meant to be for. Now, many people are going to think that I'm just saying this because I'm biased or I just don't like the way the systems are set up or the way the systems are run. But let's be very honest. How can you, a person who steals bread, right? You're hungry, you've been begging, no luck, You decide you're super hungry, let me go and steal, just get something to eat. Be housed in the same cell with murderers, rapists, gangsters, people that have committed evil crimes. That's an injustice. That's already an injustice within the so-called justice system, or a element of the justice system. Now we may not now we may disagree on who, where, how, what, who, where, this and that on the other about who actually belongs in these prisons, right? But for me, to be honest, I really think that, like I said in a previous video, that we do not need prisons at all. We do not need prisons at all. Because prior to the colonizers coming to Africa, we didn't have prisons. The community dealt with you on the spot, kangaroo courts. So that was taken away because it was seen as barbaric, it was seen as savagery, it was seen as backward. And then we have this modern system that just seems to be piling people on top of people, regardless of the crimes committed. Now, I would hate to think that if I mistakenly carried something out of a store, unintentionally so because I'm absent-minded, and then that beeper thing goes off, and then damn, they call the police, and then you are taken to these holding cells, and then your trial date is set for 2027. Now in 2025, you got 2 years sitting in there because there's a backlog at the courts, and now you languishing with people that have murdered 8 people on the outside, 5 people on the inside. I mean, this person has been arrested for murder on the outside. Now he's in prison and he's committed another 5 murders. And here you are for just absent-mindedly. You just absent-mindedly walked out with a, I don't know, with a yogurt in your hand, with a chocolate in your hand, with I don't know, a little Coke can in your hand, and you were, I don't know, whatever your innocent little cases, and then here you are with all these murderers. Would you think that is fair? I mean, let's be honest. Would you honestly think that is fair? Would you really think that is the way and that you deserve to be in that kind of situation just based off your absent mindedness? I mean, we are taking away people's livelihoods for 2 years because someone mistakenly walked out. I mean, sometimes you go, if you work in a retail store, right, and you roll back the footage, sometimes you'll see that these people didn't even intend. Some people, I don't know how to explain it. Some people actually get a call. They forget, they get a call on the cell phone while they may be standing in a queue, or, they get a call, it's something urgent. They so caught up in the conversation that they forget to put that item down. And now they're heading out to go to this emergency with that thing still in their hand, whatever that thing may be, or things may be, right? And then the beeper goes off at the entrance, right? And obviously the security reacts, they call you, they catch you, and then you know what I mean. And even you instead, like, oh man, I didn't really mean this, but it's already too late because as soon as you cross those beepers, it's stolen stuff. I'm saying we should look at each case, view it on the CCTV footages, and see if someone intended to steal or if someone mistakenly walked out with the thing, and whether this person is guilty or not. We should already determine that at the store level. Now, we're in a system where as long as the beeper goes off, you've got the position, you don't have a receipt, you're guilty. Is that justice? Is that fair? Is that right? We're treating criminals with innocent people mistakenly walking out with stuff, and people who intentionally walked out with stuff, and people who actually stealing stuff, all in the same boat, all in the same bracket. Is that fair? Right? Not fair. In my view, not fair. So then we go to the next thing. Now you're languishing in these correctional services, correctional facilities, right? You get there. You find that there's no place for you to sleep, no space, because all the beds are taken. Sometimes there's two people on a single bed. The floor has the floor has all been taken up space because there are people sleeping everywhere. Where do you sleep? Right? Where do you sleep? You squash next to these bodies that are just sleeping on the floor. That's the only other option. Now, I'm not advocating that prisons should be luxury hotels for criminals. No, I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying the system is broken, that we just house anybody and everybody who we catch, who we deem is a criminal, and just put them in these housing units, these cells. Irrespective of what they've done, everyone is just treated the same. You're a criminal, even though you know you didn't steal. Like they always say, God knows I didn't do it. Only God knows. For sure. Only God knows. But that's not true. Not only God knows. The person at the CCTV footage or the CCTV room at the store can see if they really wanted to play the tape back and show and play it and see that you didn't actually mean to steal the stuff. Because if you actually really wanted to steal the stuff, why would you stand in a queue for so long at the till point? Why then would you run out? It was an emergency. They could ask all these questions. There's a difference. You can see someone going to a shelf, stuffing something under their pants or into their pocket, or someone doing something, removing the labels, something. But if you see someone who goes to and gets a drink, or stands in a queue, gets a phone call, heads in a panic, heads are running because he needs to get to this emergency, people runs off, people goes off, they turn back in a panic, say, what's up? Oh, I sorry, I forgot this thing. They're like, no, 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 no. You stole it. You tell me. You tell me if that is right and that's correct. So, why did I take you through all of that scenario at store level? Because that is part of the reason of the congestion and the overcrowding that's happening in our prison system. Top that off with small criminals, petty theft, unpaid child maintenance, and a whole lot of just misdemeanor prostitutes, and just a whole lot of misdemeanor stuff, small stuff that people are just all being packed into these things, right? Add foreigners to the mix, right? Serious crimes committed by foreigners, misdemeanor crimes. According to the Department of Corrections, they're saying there's over 22,000 foreign criminals in South Africa's jails. And they're saying that as of 2024, the overcrowding of prisons is at a 56% capacity. So the prisons are overcrowded by 56%. People, it according to my research, South African prisons in total can house a total of 107,000 criminals. right? That's all the prisons in South Africa. 107,000 prisoners. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. 100,000 people? That's a lot. But come to this is shocking. At full capacity, it's 107,000 people across the country, in all the prisons across the country, right? Can you believe that there are about 158,000 criminals, people within the correctional facilities across South Africa? People, we have basically 50,000 extra people, or uh, 50,000 and I don't know. Eh, People, I'm in financial loss for words. I, dude, how, how do you claim to be a minister? How do you claim to be a director general? How do you claim to be a facilities manager when you can't even manage the problem? Now, I'm not saying those people are the people that should take the law into their own hands. They must obviously wait for the courts. The courts have to process these people. They should be speedily. People, the minister of justice, the minister of corrections and whatever, these people, these people are not supposed to wait for the courts per se. These people are supposed to make what you call executive decisions, because they are the ones at the facilities. They are the ones who are seeing and running the facilities. You take the least dangerous, the least horrific, horrendous, the least, uh, I don't know what even way to put in there, bro. Give an example. The shoplifters, the food stealers, the pampers stealers. These are essentials that you can see people need. They can't afford it, they need. Those people, you let them go and do community service for that stuff. You don't have to house those type of people there, right? People who steal food, people who steal daily essentials. Those are people are not running to and steal to sell stuff. They're stealing there to use because they can't afford. Obviously, you can think logically that these people here, they do not deserve to be here because they desperately need the stuff, but they can't afford it. You have a baby, you don't have pampers, you're trying to use papers and cotton and that. You're running out of everything. So you go to the shop, you do your best, but you just steal one pampers, and guess what? You're sitting in prison for 2 years. Dude, that person can go to community service for 7 hours. He doesn't have to be languishing for 2 years for stealing not a packet, not a pamper. What? They sell loose pampers, right? Imagine stealing one or two pampers, and now you're going to serve for 2 years before you go to a trial date. That's serving 1 year for a pamper. 1 year for a pamper. How does this make any logic? I mean, how? Please tell me, how does this make any logic? So, if we have people who have went to university, who can think logically that there's overcrowding in in the facilities, why then do we not release the least offenders, the least horrific, horrible, terrible, heinous criminals, the least of them? Like I'm saying to you, the people that steal the essential stuff, they need to eat, who need to survive, the people that need to get look after the kids, the babies. Let's start there, right? Then we move up the chain to your deadbeat dads. Move up the chain. Right, you can't pay your go and find ways to lessen the burden on the system, because the overcrowding, guys, is not on. I'm not even a lawyer. I'm not even a judge. I'm not even a minister. I'm not even anything. And I can think like that. And yet you get the people who are being paid these thousands of rands per month. who can't even think like this. So, what purpose do these people serve that are being paid all this money? And then they're going to tell you it's not in our hands. Guess what? We have to wait for the judge. Dude, there's already a backlog at the judge. The judge himself doesn't even know what to do with all those cases. The judge can't even look at all the minor cases that are there. Serve all those people there to community service. Get them all done within a week. That whole backlog will be, dude, a week is even too long. 3 days. In 3 days, we can, all that backlog that's waiting at the courts will all be sorted out within 3 days. And the prison population will be down to what is manageable. So I don't know if people are just comfortable in these high salaries. I don't know if people are just comfortable with the perks and the positions they get from within government that they now neglect the needs or the basic human requirements of what it takes to live within a housing facility. Now, talking about overcrowding, right? I want to tell you about this guy sent me a message saying that I must talk about this situation at Sun City, right? So I did my research on Sun City, and Sun City is one of two of South Africa's most notorious prisons. I would even argue to say it's possibly South Africa's most popular prison, right? People, yes, I do agree that there's crime happening within the prison system. Totally agree with that. There's corruption happening in the prison system. Totally agree with that. The gangs seem to be running the prison more than the officials are supposed to be running the prison. It's more like the officials are just managing the problems more than they can control. Because remember, for the gangs to be running the prison system, it has to be a collusion with corrupt officials. Now, I also do agree that officials are being underpaid and overworked, and the possible element of bribery then comes into play. Corruption then comes into play because you do get wealthy, rich, um, what other word is money, financially able criminals who have either businesses or some sort of outside connections that can bring them money, or the way they make money where they in there, the system of cash keeps running. So they have the means and the monies to do whatever what they need to do within the prison system. Totally get that. I totally get that. But my biggest thing is with the overcrowding. So what is the government going to do? Because they have these options available to them, and yet they're choosing to ignore that. So, are they waiting for the prison system or the prison population to hit the 200,000 mark before they start to do something about it? Or are they waiting for a presidential pardon that's going to happen at the end of Ramaphosa's term to then clear the prison system? That's the whole point. So overcrowding has become a thing. Hygiene is becoming an issue. Fights are becoming an issue. Food riots are becoming an issue. It's just a whole people just going to prison as a minor offender, as a first time offender. And it's not even a heinous crime. It's for something as basic as you trying to feed your child, stealing purity or stealing nan, right? And then here you are being housed in an overcrowded facility. I mean, people, the situation is dire. If you've never been to a prison, do yourself a favor. I mean, yeah, I know we all think bad about prisons and we all think bad about prison systems, and yeah, they just deserve to be there. They just deserve to be there. Do you really know who's there, who's in those facilities, and you just blanket everybody, say, yeah, they deserve to be there. Yeah, they deserve to be there. If if just put yourself in this position. If you're one of these people that I'm talking about that either absent-mindedly held a coke in your hand, stood in a queue 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, get a phone call, panicking, you run out. Nothing happens every single day. Or you one of those people who's desperately hungry. You ask for food. You just walk in the shop. You decide, man, this is do or die because now I like it. You beg, no one give you. You beg. You try to clean. You try to no one because most of the time the way you dress alone just you know what I'm saying. People just don't want to trust you because of the way you dress. People don't think you're desperate. People don't. They don't see the human side of you when you dress in a certain way. They just see that you're a thief. You're that, right? Put yourself in that position where you've never stolen in your life. Now you're hungry. You feel like your body's on the verge of shutting down and you want to survive. I mean, I don't think of anyone, I don't know of anyone who's willing to die. Just like, well, there's no food, so you know what? I'm just gonna lay here and sleep and just die. I don't know of anyone. Like I've never heard of anyone being that slack, right? I'm not saying there isn't, I'm saying I haven't heard. And I don't think anyone who's watching this would be that slack that, oh, I'm hungry, so what? Let me just sleep and die. Nah, I don't think so. And then you go and then you steal something to eat. And then while you're stealing it, you get arrested and hope that there where you're going is food for you to eat. Then I want you to come back and say, yeah, he deserves to be there. They deserve to be there. They deserve to be there. Not everyone in prison deserves to be there. We need to be real. We need to be honest. So I want us to really think hard and long about the prison situation because for most people, it's just a blanket statement of, well, that's all the people that are there. They committed the crime. They should do the time. Some people are mistakenly there. Some people were accused and they were not even at the crime scene, but they're there. So before you judge someone and just say they deserve to be there, first get to know the person's story and then make a clear judgment after you hear that story. Next, we get into the pros. I don't think there's any pros of overcrowding in South African prisons. Voila. People, the pros of overcrowding in South African prisons. One, there is no pros of overcrowding. Number two, there can never be any positive outcomes through overcrowding. Number three, there is just no explanation, no justification. There can be no anything that you can justify for the reason that people are in any places that are overcrowded. There is just no justification for that, and there is no reason for that, and therefore there is nothing positive about overcrowding in South Africa's prisons. Next, we get into the negatives, the cons of overcrowding. You know how we do. Hala. People, according to the Department of Correctional Services, right? South Africa spends 500 Rand a day on prisoners, right? The cons of overcrowding. Picture this. South Africa spends 500 Rand a day on prisoners. Some people are even suggesting that it could be as high as 800 Rand a day, right? Oh, you just picture that, right? A day on prisoners. So we have a amount of what about 158,000 criminals, right, in South African prisons. At eight, okay, let's just go with their official numbers, right? At 500 Rand a day, people, do you know how much money South Africans taxpayers are wasting on people that could actually be out doing community service rather than being housed and fed and really, guys, cons of overcrowding. People, do you know diseases? Okay, let's start with the hygiene factor first. Let's start with the diseases, right? Do you know how hygiene and diseases can become a problem within overcrowding? Okay, number two, do you know how overcrowding can increase the fights, the irritation, the agitation? Some people just hate being made discomfort discomforted, right? People just hate being uncomfortable. And then therefore they fight. And it's a breeding ground for bad activities. Understand what I'm saying? Number three, overcrowding. Do you know it causes and it also adds to the gang recruitment within the prison system? Guys, what else? Number four, overcrowding. Just the mere fact that a person is so, I don't know the word, just the mere fact that a person is in a room that is supposed to house 6 people is now in a room that's housing like 20 people. Just that alone is enough to already traumatize you. And imagine being there for 5 years or 2 years. Man, that's just enough to destroy someone's psyche by the time by the time they get out of these correctional facilities. So I'm asking you again. They say it's called Department of Correctional Services. How are you correcting anybody when the conditions you're putting them in are even damaging them psychologically? Mentally, some people are going to be scarred for life because they've never been in such a situation where they've been packed like sardines. Now, here you are subjecting them to that very same type of mentality and that same type of treatment that gives them that sardine mentality, and they're going to carry that with them forever wherever they go. So, people, we need to change the way our correctional facilities operate. They need to come with corrective measures for people who are deemed less of a threat to society, and obviously deal appropriately with those who are deemed a threat to society, because we cannot treat all criminals the same way. It's totally unfair. So the term correctional facilities is supposed to have programs in place where they do work, where they do studies, where they do this, where they do that. The majority, if not all of the criminals in our justice system, they just lay in bed all day, maybe do exercises all day, study here and there, maybe do some, I don't know, maybe they're cooking this, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, Department of Correctional Services, they're supposed to have work for these people. These people are supposed to be producing, sewing, the garments that they wear, the food that they eat, the garden service. They're supposed to be washing the walls. They're supposed to be cleaning. But when you go there, the stench, the dirt, the filth. But these people are just made to languish and sit around all day. Guys, come on. These people are young. Most of them are young. Most of them, these people need to work. Take them to the farms. Take them somewhere. Do something. Make them correctional. So you are correcting them. So when they go out back into the world, they do not come back again. Hard physical labor. That's what is needed. Guys, come on. The Correctional Services Department is sleeping. They need someone to jack them up. You understand what I mean? And that's where someone like me will come in. And I will change that system. I will make sure that you will not commit another crime in your life. Trust me, I don't care how hard as a criminal you are. You will learn. You will learn. Guys, let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below, right? Was I on the money or did I totally miss it with this one? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hate speech? Always welcome. You know how we do. Hala.